what this is,
Right on the side.
oh, I didn't see it, okay. The people in Harford, I'm talking to Julie Nicholas now, from Williams. The people in Harford presented to the Planning Commission a copy of the Harford Township Noise Ordinance, and they are the people from Harford who are concerned about the Miller compressor station are saying that Williams needs to meet the ordinance requirements of Harford Township. So that's what this is about here. If you want to pass it around, people who...
All three, are they
No.
different ones, or are they all?
No,
No, there's only two that are different. There's two that are separate. There's ordinance number 42, which was passed in 2010,
there's this.
and there's ordinance number 44, passed in 2011. And you'll notice in section 4 of Article 44 that it uses the more stringent laws on noise ordinance. And the industry is specified in ordinance 42 also.
Do they have a decibel level included?
And in ordinance
No.
42, they don't.
They
In
do
ordinance
have it in
40
44.
In 44, they have to be 25, I think the readings are there, it's 40 or 25 feet from the property line, they take a 50 decimal. But you'll also notice in 44, the highlighted relationship with other restrictions reverts it back to 42. The ordinance 42.
So that's the one with the decibel levels?
No,
44
has decimal levels, 42 doesn't. In 44, it talks about the relationship to 42, meaning saying that the ordinance with the more stringent restrictions is the ones they use.
This is ordinance 44 here.
Right.
And you'll notice on the highlighted on that other page that it reverts it back to 42 really.
There's also a different setback in the Harford ordinance.
Is there?
Yeah, instead of going to the nearest occupied building, it's 25 feet.
Oh, noise, I mean...
For the noise testing requirement, it has to be within the property of where the compressor station is. If I understood it correctly, 25 feet from the border, from the property line, that's where they are to measure no higher than 50 decibels.
And we're under the understanding that there's technology to make them quieter that just hasn't been used.
And Williams did not, as far as I know, do the sound test based on the township ordinance. They used the county ordinance. Township ordinance is precedent over, it supersedes, the county.
So do you have any information on that, Julie, where the test was done?
Yeah, we have the sound test here. Harford, West Harford. I think you have it, Eleanor.
We would just
No, I
like to
have it
soundproof
here.
it.
I have it here.
This is Gibson. Also, if you look at 42, they have in there for medical problem, which I do. I broke my neck in 4 different places. I've had 3 operations. I've had brain surgery done. And it seems like it really doesn't matter in this thing. Well, according to our
Noise
our
ordinance.
regulations, they should come into play.
And we're understanding they have the technology to quiet it, so we're just requesting that they use the technology available to them before approval.
When the townships pass ordinances like
Mhm.
this
Yep.
that affect something that we do, shouldn't they be making us aware of that?
Yeah, yeah, they should. They don't, but they should.
Because all we can do basically is what our ordinance requires.
Right, but what I'm looking for, John, is, like I just mentioned when that Joe Morrison was here, we have to go by the township setbacks, like Bridgewater has
True.
a building setback.
But we know what they are, right?
Right, they tell us.
When they when they had a copy of it though to review and like that, they should have told us at that
Yeah,
time.
we send, it's not that they're in the dark, the township I'm talking about. We send them the copy of the plan. If they haven't, well, here. Okay, this is more. Ah, there you go. Okay, we send them the plan. They send this thing, a report, admissible report form, no objection. How are we supposed to know, you know, if they don't tell us?
Yeah, Township doesn't transfer. When was that letter sent to the township?
Let's see, that was when we always send it when we get the plan. I'll tell you in a second here. June 17th, 2013. June 17th. Yeah, June 17th, 2013. They returned it, I lost it again. We received it August 14th, 2013. If they have an issue or have other ordinances, they need to let us know.
When was the ordinance dated?
One say,
Oh, what's that? 2011 ordinance.
so that was in effect when they got the plan.
Ordinance
42 was prior to that.
Yeah, it's 2010.
February
But
15th
we
of
have to know
2011.
that they have an ordinance to go by it. Yeah. They have to, these townships have to get their act together.
So basically sounds though like if you have a problem with the noise, you've got to talk to the township.
They have a formal complaint, and we would like the time to work this out at the township level, but we humbly request the time to do so with not giving them final approval yet at this time.
I spoke with the township supervisor, Mr. Owen. There's 3 supervisors today, and he said that Williams did contact him, and they knew about the township ordinance. Instead, Williams chose to go after the county ordinance because it is less stringent. And they told, Williams' representative told Owens that there's no way we can comply with your ordinance. It is too stringent. So they decided on their own to go after the county. They have no right to decide which ordinance is less stringent for them.
Even though the letter was sent a year ago, they just started the testing and running it and to test it to see if they can get final approval. And that's where the whole problem occurred, is during the noise and during the running of the testing. That's when the people of the township has gotten the full brunt of the noise and everything. So we'd just like some time to work this out. And we'd request that they don't get final approval until they meet all the local regulations.
Are there any other things that we need
No.
before giving them final approval?
No, everything is all there as far as I was concerned. That's right. Now-
Well, just a correction, it would appear not to be.
Right,
There were-
right.
so this one-
And I need to find something in our ordinance that says that.
There are ordinances received ours. Oh, no question about that.
Clarification from the township.
Better.
What's that?
Contingent on a clarification from the township.
Basically, in a way, we've already got that, even though they're not.
They sent it back, no objection.
They've only been
So
running
they didn't
it
even check
for...
to see the method ordinance and then call it.
Yeah.
They just signed it, signed that?
I think a lot of townships do things like that, but they don't realize what they're doing.
Yep.
I bet they don't realize.
We don't have a noise ordinance.
Well, we should start our meeting and drop that for the time being. Okay. Let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. Do we have the
Okay,
flag?
we don't have a flag.
We'll still say the Pledge of
I'll
Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For any public comment specifically concerning any issue that is to come before the board tonight. So if somebody would like to speak on that, just tell us your name and who you represent and what your interests are.
Well, go ahead, Jim.
Jim Tuttle, and we're on the Miller Compressor Station, Williams Miller Compressor Station in Harford Township. And we would like more time for the township to request and to bring Williams Compressor Station into the local ordinance. They have the technology capable of complying with the noise ordinance, and we would like to just have some more time for them to comply with the local regulations before they're approved for operation.
Okay, thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
The other gentleman?
I'm Ben Tuttle, and I even showed this gentleman the scan of my brain and explained to him what the problem was. Now I got a worse problem because the noise keeps me up, and now I'm super noise sensitive, so now I get to take more seizure medicine just so I can move around a little bit. But I mean, I might better have talked to the side of the barn. You know what I mean? I ain't getting nowhere here.
Thank you for your comments. This gentleman here had his hand raised.
Yes, my name is Jake Knowlton. Want to speak in regards to the Gibson compressor station. I am the nearest home to the station, non-participating, and I was wondering if I could receive a copy of the testing completed, and also if request a review comment period so that I could review the work completed by Williams on the sound testing.
A review and comment period.
Yeah,
What exactly are you?
Well, I'm the nearest non-participating home, and I would like to see the testing that was completed, that it was done correctly.
We have extra copies. Eleanor has them there. And the Gibson compressor station plan.
Do you have ordinances in Gibson, noise ordinances?
No.
I'll let you explain.
It's right in there. It's right on top.
On top?
Right on top.
All right.
Noise.
Oh, yeah, sound source. Do you want to just give a copy?
Well, can we? Is it allowed?
It's public information.
Okay.
Yeah. This is an open meeting.
Now, you
Sound
mentioned
source,
a
you think?
time period. What are you talking about in the way of time?
Well,
You know, this can't go on forever.
could we have 30 days?
Mhm.
May have to talk to our attorney, county attorney,
Okay.
see if that's allowable. What do you think about that?
I don't think you need to.
You don't think so?
If he has a problem with Williams, he has to deal with it. It meets our ordinance. Okay?
Okay.
This is not one that has their own ordinance. This is not one that has another ordinance. It meets the county. This study says that it meets the ordinance. We don't know that. If he wants to dispute it, he would have to dispute it with the sound engineers. That's my opinion. Okay?
You're probably right.
It meets the ordinance, what it says here in the ordinance. They say that it meets the 50 decibels. We don't know that because we don't go out and take those readings. But we're accepting the engineers' stuff.
You know, we accept lots of engineers and surveyors and SEOs and PennDOT and other people's
That's just
professional
my-
expertise.
That's
so-
just my opinion. I'm not planning commission.
Well,
Was a sound decibel reading taken at this gentleman's home? If he is the
is he the
closest?
nearest
Yeah,
participating?
you're the
Not
closest one. It
participating.
must have been. It's gotta be in there.
I don't know, I was never contacted.
Well, it should be
It's
on
in
that
It's in the
paperwork.
report.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's That's
Should
why
be in the report, yeah.
you wanted a copy of the
Yeah.
report, so you can look at it and see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if you're still not satisfied, you've always got the option of getting your own expert
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, challenging them.
Okay.
But
It's a little different than that Harford issue. Harford has their own ordinance, which we were not aware of, or you know, was not part of the review of the planning commission.
I understand. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I just want to make sure we got a proper testing done.
Sure. Yeah, but the planning commission and the county does not do testing.
Yeah, I know
You know,
that.
the
I understand
engineers
that.
do, so.
I understand that. I just thought from speaking with the committee before, I would have been contacted about testing done on my property, I guess.
Why?
Well, I don't know. I said from the nearest non-participating home.
Yeah.
I assume not from us, you're not saying.
No,
us,
but
no.
from
okay,
from
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 them.
the people doing the
Right.
testing, not
Oh, I
from
see.
you.
Oh, okay.
You know?
But when the county reviewed that report, did it show that gentleman's house?
Yeah.
It did.
it's in there.
Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't, I mean, not that it doesn't matter, but they say it meets the ordinance. That's it. Okay? The county is not going to say, I don't trust that survey, I don't trust that SEO's work, I don't trust that driveway permit location. The county has not done that. That's what John is saying, we accept it. The engineers, you know, certification and all.
And another thing, we have no budget, this particular board. Anything that we would request would have to be approved by the county commissioners.
Well,
So,
the county has no equipment or
Right.
way.
right, they would
Yeah,
have
they've
to
made the
hire an
determination.
expert.
They have to hire
To do it.
engineers.
Right.
They have to hire
Right.
engineers.
They would have to go out and hire another
They'd have to hire
engineer to
somebody.
dispute the engineers, you know. And that's, because again, what John said, the county doesn't, as a practice, dispute engineers' work. They just don't.
Well, we have to rely on registered people, you know,
Right.
they have a license. to-
But if Mr. Knowlton has you know, if he feels that it's, you can go out and hire your own engineer and
Mhm.
then dispute that.
And then you
Take
can
it
always
from there.
go to the registration board. If you find that this gentleman has done something that's not right,
Yeah.
you have the option to go to the professional registration board.
Okay.
The gentleman in the back first.
I'm Mike Hatchie, I'm with Williams Community Outreach, and I just wanted to add that we've met with some of the neighbors here on this issue, and specifically Mr. Nolan explained the process, offered to provide lists of possible sound engineers that could do an additional study if he so deemed it necessary. So, you know, we're aware of their concerns and have been in dialogue in many cases with Mr. Knowlton and actually Mr. Tuttle as well. I've met at his house several times. So it's not a case where we haven't been in dialogue, we haven't had conversations, we haven't explained the process for the sound surveys and what's done. I'm looking at this now, and it seems like we did the survey at the road. If it met the requirement of the road, it was actually closer than would have been the necessary requirement at the resident. So if it's actually closer, we've met the requirement. It would probably be even less at the actual resident, so we wouldn't have to disturb him.
Just all night I get disturbed, that's all.
Are you disturbed now by the noise?
You had your hand up.
I also want to object to the,
You
me?
are?
I'm Vera Scroggins, and I want to say that I want to object to the type of testing that Williams does, because they're only testing 2 of the actual compressors in operation. There's 5 compressors, and I believe there's 5 on this site also for in Gibson. And they're not doing full load. So what they do is they test 2 of the compressors at full, they don't do the full load, and then they do a projection of what might be the result. And I object to that kind of testing. I would like them to do again testing when they're in full load, full operation, and see if they can be within the 50 decibels, which I doubt they will be. Especially next to his house, he's the closest. Those that are the closest to the compressors. So this is how they get around trying to meet our county minimum decibel readings. So I want to have it on record that I, as a resident, object to this type of inadequate testing, and that they consider it adequate. They pay for their engineers, and I want the county to do their own testing, because we are not protected. We have 40 compressor stations at this point in our county and county. This is outrageous that what we're being exposed to, besides the noise, all of the emissions, the tons of toxic emissions that are coming from these sites. And we need to have proper testing, and I want our county to do it. We have Act 13 money, we have all kinds of money. Let them order the engineers and do full 5 compressors running testing next to the nearest homes. And then you will have an accurate reading, not this type of reading. So I want it to be done again for this gentleman. I want it to be done again when it's in full operation for the Tuttles. And I also want to say that we need to be able to be more on top of this. As far as Harford Township is concerned, they have their own ordinances which are stricter than the county. And Williams specifically is avoiding those ordinances. They decide to go by the county ordinance, which is less stringent. And why would they do that? Why don't they just do what is on the books? Follow the law. Otherwise, we're talking lawsuits here. You already have one lawsuit against the county, and we have lawyers that are waiting right now that will take a lawsuit that if they don't follow the township ordinance, that's what they should follow when they do. So I'm requesting at least 30 days or more for them to redo the test according to the township ordinance. And this is not asking too much. This is on the books. Otherwise, we will have to get lawyers to back us up on this. We're not being protected properly. Thank you.
Julie, would you like to say?
I would just like to say that in our letter to the county, we submit our sound ordinance. We have recognized that the system that we've constructed does not have enough gas volume at this moment to run all 5 compressors, or 4 compressors, really, because our air permit restricts us to 4 compressors running at one time. And so there's not actually enough volume in the system to do that right now. We have sent Bob a letter and said that when we have full volume, we will retest. And we intend on doing that. We have full volume, recognizing that we don't have enough volume right now during the testing. So Williams recognizes that. And we are going to retest when we have enough volume in the system to do that. And it's on record with the county, because it was in the submission of the sound ordinance.
Was that for Harford or both?
It was for all the sound,
Okay.
everything that we submitted in December, which would be White, Miller, and Gibson. So I just want to clarify that to the Planning Commission, that Williams knows of the capacity of the engines, and we test them because it's in the report, and we will retest them at full load.
Then if you're going to retest them, then do not approve them until they're retested at full load. And when will you have enough volume? What is your projection?
I can't tell you that. I'm not, and that's really up to the producers, so you have to talk to the producers about that.
Have you got any reference from the past where you tested with less than full load and then tested later? Was there any significant change?
We haven't come into that situation yet. I can't recall, but I mean, I can't recall the number of stations that we've tested at full load. I have to go through the reports to see which ones are at 100% and which ones are less. If all of the ones, I can say that all the ones that weren't at full load will be retested at full load once you get all the volume. We have records and written to Bob about that too, to say that we will retest them at full load.
Well, Ms. Groggins, I think you have 2 issues there. One with Harford Township, who have already contradicted themselves by sending us a note basically saying that they have no objections. And then the other thing is, we can't do anything without the county commissioners approving it. So if you can get the county commissioners to approve it, that's fine with us, but
Approve what part of it?
to have it, these retested, checked, basically.
Well, I'm requesting it as a resident. Are you requesting that too, to have retesting at full load? And I would like this, then for you to write a letter, you're the commission, to the county commissioners. I'll ask them also, but they should also receive a letter from you saying, we would like to see a full load testing. and not just a projection based on a computer computations, what they think might be. And of course it's going to be below the county limit. When have they ever shown a test? Williams has done this now dozens of times. When have they ever shown a test that's over the county limit? Or even at least 50? They haven't. Because they only do partial loads. They never give a test. She can't even come up with one test to show full load. And this is the game they play.
Snake Creek was done at full load. I just didn't know offhand because I don't have, I mean, we have a number of compressor stations. I don't have all the reports in front of me.
Snake Creek was also, I saw the report, it was done in partial load in the initial approval. And if you did any kind of full load, it was after the approval. Show me anything before final approval that you did on full load. And give us an
Snake
example.
Creek was at full load.
No,
but
it wasn't.
to
I
go from the
have a
past.
copy of the
Okay, well,
actual testing. It was partial
If you
load.
have a copy of it, then you have a copy of it.
I specifically looked into that one.
Okay, all right, well.
I think the
can't-
people of Hartford could save you and Williams some money for testing, because in Ordinance 42, it clearly states that no offensive noises, and since they have the technology to silence it, I think in Hartford we could just get it silenced, and you wouldn't have to test, and Williams don't have to test anymore either. We'll make it quiet.
Well, I brought it up to this gentleman about the soundproofing of that Miller station when I explained to him about the medical problems going on.
Yeah.
And it don't seem to really matter because you're dipping into their profits, see? That's the whole ballgame.
It'll cost them more, but I'm sure that there's enough resources in this industry to pay for to meet,
And I didn't
to meet
sign
local
up.
requirements. I'm sure there's the resources.
Just like they put soundproofing on highways, you see all those big walls? They should be able to put concrete walls as high as we need it around these sites so that we don't have to listen to the noise, a constant noise hum 24/7 besides the emissions that are 24/7. They should be able to invest that kind of money without inflicting the citizens so that we have to have health issues besides and sleep deprivation so that they can do their particular industry. Put those walls up, find out what is needed, and start to require these things. And not have to play engineer. Otherwise, we have to get engineers' reports, requests from our county. We need full engineers' reports to see if their engineers' reports are correct, especially at full load, because that's when it's going to be, full load, not partial load.
We
I
have
don't want to see
requested
full load.
different times that they put up sound barriers with trees and make sure there's vegetation between and they've been good about that.
Yeah, but the sound waves that come out of the stations are low-frequency sound waves, and putting up a barrier wall will not help. It'll go around the wall and through the wall.
But they do have technology.
And I was told that by Williams.
So what technology would be good? Do you know of any technology to stop that sound?
Well, you have to contain it within the building itself, and that is doable.
It's been done.
And so why aren't they not doing it when we've had complaints throughout the county, all the different stations? Why
I
are they
think they
not
will
doing
now.
it?
Southwest does it.
Yeah, I think they'll do it now.
Well,
I'm sure we
Southwest
won't have
doesn't
any
have
problems
compressor
with.
stations.
I think Williams wants to be
Yeah, but
friends
they
with the
got-
community.
And
I think-
that is the case, but we do, I mean, we do these things. Our sound reports show that we're meeting compliance, dedicated meeting compliance with.
Not compliance with the local ordinance of Hartford, though.
And you didn't
And
meet
since you have
Crawford.
technology that you
If
can
in
meet those
fact
ordinances, it would be
local
nice if you
ordinance-
did. Actually, it would be more than nice if you would meet the local regulations.
At least the
Can I
local.
suggest that we close public comment and move on with that meeting, please?
Okay, we'll do that.
Take that back. I don't want to lose that.
Would there like to be a vote on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Okay, public comment is discontinued. Old business. Subdivision of
Give it back.
Or be a condition of approval.
Right, right.
Okay.
We based it on that.
Condition.
I just, we have to
Oh, by the other.
quote something.
Right.
You know.
Well, shall I read that?
Yeah,
out?
go ahead.
Okay. This is something we just found in the ordinance.
As I stated earlier, the planning commission goes by local ordinances, as I mentioned, you know, the 35-foot setback, for instance, with building set, you know, if a township has their own ordinance for, say, setbacks, the planning commission has gone by, you know, has required that the plan meet those setbacks rather than the county's setbacks. But I was looking for something in the ordinance relative to what we were talking about here.
In Herrick Township, we have a zoning ordinance.
Right, right.
So when we get those review and comments, if it does not meet our zoning ordinance, we put, does not meet section whatever of our
Right.
zoning ordinance.
I found in our ordinance reference to local zoning ordinances. This isn't a zoning ordinance.
Right.
So that's why I was looking for something
But what I'm
else.
saying is that Herrick Township supervisors comment on there. You know, if it doesn't mean something.
Sure.
So I think Harford Township should have put,
Yes.
please be aware that we
Right.
have a
We
noise
have our- a
ordinance,
noise
so
ordinance.
that the
Right.
county knows.
Right. But I think I found
Instead of
something
putting no
else.
objections, they should have put, what's the other recommendations? Well, you
Yeah.
have a number of things to
It could
check.
even say no objections contingent on meeting our noise ordinance.
That we have a noise ordinance, correct.
Well, in this particular article, 4, plan requirements, section 400, applications, I'm not going to read it all, I'll read the last paragraph, or the last sentence. All other local, state, and federal permits and approvals shall be obtained by the applicant, which you have done, or shall be made a condition of approval by the commission or planning department. So we could approve the plan with the condition that they meet the requirements of Harford sound ordinance. Would that be reasonable?
I think so, but you know, I'm not a lawyer, but that's
So that would give you a chance that they have to meet that before it's final.
Before they're running it?
And we don't put that on record until it.
Oh, okay. So before they run it full capacity, before they're fully operational, running it all the time, they have to.
Again, I don't know about that, but
They would have to meet
Because
Harford's.
we do have a letter, from, like Julie said, that says that they will, for all three, I was thinking it was just for the one, for
Okay.
Gibson, but it references all three compressor stations that it will then be tested again once it's full, you know, full board or whatever you call it.
But now with this, if you do it on a conditional, if they don't meet the conditions within a certain time frame, what are the?
There's no time frame.
There's no time frame. Is there any anything that can be done to them if they don't ever meet the requirements?
Yeah.
It'll never be approved, it'll never become.
Oh, so it has to wait.
If we make it a condition.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't become final until the conditions are met.
Oh, thank you very much.
If the township doesn't have an established zoning ordinance, however, anything that comes through a site plan review is deferred to the highest level of zoning, which is the county's ordinance.
Right, right.
So therefore,
Yeah.
Harford Township does not have a zoning ordinance in place.
That's correct, they don't have a zoning ordinance.
Right.
No. They have a special purpose noise ordinance, though.
Right, we got a noise ordinance in Harvard.
So does that have any relevance?
Yeah, I believe it does, because that's what John was just reading. See, let me go back. I was looking for something, whenever the planning commission takes action, the secretary, Rick here, has to write a letter and say, it doesn't meet this, or, you know, it doesn't meet this particular section of our ordinance. And that's what I was feverishly looking for, something in the ordinance that the planning commission could say, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't meet the ordinance in this respect. We can't just say, oh, we don't like it, you know, the planning commission's not going to approve it. No, you have to.
Yeah, you can't put it
Law
off
says
forever.
that you have to point to something, you have to cite specifics, and that's what I was looking for. So
That would be very good. That's all we request is.
I did find in here, there was another section that says it has to apply to local zoning ordinances, but I know that's not a zoning ordinance. It's not a zoning ordinance, it's what they call a special purpose ordinance. But so is, I keep mentioning, you know, referencing Bridgewater Township setbacks, that's a special purpose ordinance. Bridgewater also has a noise ordinance. I think, I was gonna say choking it, but I don't think you do. Do you have any special purpose ordinance?
no,
You
I
have something
don't
somewhere, but, anyway.
Can I just be clear about what you're proposing, that it be conditionally approved, subject to the township? I think you used the word compliance with township special use ordinance. But do we I mean, the township may decide for whatever reason not to change the ordinance or not to comply. Can't we just refer it back to them for further consideration or whatever they need to do it, whatever they want to do with it, that's their business.
That's what you.
Well,
Because I thought your wording made it sound like that they would have to force Williams to comply with that, but we don't have the authority to.
No, we can't make the county can't make the township do anything. Yeah,
Right.
they have more power than the county.
So shouldn't we just be referring it back to them conditionally for, I don't know how you want, reconsideration or whatever term you want to use?
Oh, I see, not meeting the ordinance, for their determination
That's for
whether it
them
meets the
to
ordinance.
determine, right.
And then it
Well,
comes back.
basically, if a plan meets the ordinance, our ordinance, we don't really have any choice. We've got to approve it. So by approving it with these conditions, we're turning it back over to Harford Township.
Right.
And Williams. We're fulfilling our obligation, you know, to Harford, basically, and the public down there. But it also gives us a leg to stand on, that yes, it does say this in our ordinance, that basically the local rules apply.
But why are we required to approve something when we know it's not completely right?
Did this come back from Harford Township? Did it go to them and not
Yes.
come back again?
Came back with
It
no
came back with
objections.
no objections.
So you can't. It's gotta go through, right?
Send it back on the read the ordinance.
Well,
No, they have a
only
formal.
suggestion by
Okay,
doing that,
let me-
we're interpreting the ordinance for them.
Correct.
And I don't think
Yeah,
we ever in
yeah.
a position to do that.
Just for the sake of argument, I'm gonna throw something out which is not gonna be popular, but I'm gonna say it anyway. What if the county approved it, and then it still doesn't meet the township ordinance? Then who's the onus on, you know? It's kind of forcing them to go to the township, you know,
I guess I would ask why would the county pass it?
at all.
At all.
Yeah.
At all, yeah, okay.
I think we should just reject it, send it back to them.
Can we do that? We need a lawyer here. Can we do that? Can the county
Then
do
table
that?
it and send it to our lawyer.
Okay.
And have them look at it and tell us what we need to do.
You're gonna have
But
to
I don't think we should approve it with conditions or anything.
You're gonna have to stipulate what you want in it.
Let him look at their ordinance, and
Yeah,
let him
he
look
would
at our
say,
ordinance
can-
and tell us what we need to do.
Because the county planning commission can't say that it has to meet the ordinance. That's up to Harford to determine, right? That's what you're saying, Chris, right?
Right.
But we can table plans,
They
correct?
can.
We're saying Harford made a mistake.
I can't in good conscience say, yeah. I think we should go back.
Or they just didn't look into it.
Yeah,
That's more like
That's
it.
more like it. That's more like
Ordinance
it.
is
Why
not
bother
for a
having
while.
ordinance if you're not gonna
Right.
do
Well,
anything?
I think they made a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna argue that
That's
too with
possible, but that's
Hartford.
not for us as a group to determine,
Right.
that's for.
But since the
some other-
regulations aren't being met.
Well, you know,
We
there are
find a
times when
discrepancy,
regulations
we're
are
pointing it
waived.
out, we
I'm
should
not
send it
suggesting
back.
they
I
did
think
that,
we
but I don't have
should
the ability to determine what they did. or didn't.
Well,
They
no,
could
because
put that in front of
it's
the
in the
public or something.
paperwork, they can't wait, they can't just
Temporary
say-
variances for
Right,
emergency
temporary.
fixes and other things like that. They can make noise all night if they're on an emergency or something. Or drilling a well, they can make noise from the drill, can make noise all night. But on a continuous, like a compressor station, they can't make that a
Yeah.
permanent noise maker in your
How
area.
is Hartford? Not really. That's a zero. What do you,
Yeah, you need to secure.
what do you think, Harry?
I mean, you're suggesting we table it, correct? And refer it to.
Rick is. Yeah, I just can't in good conscience say we should give this preliminary approval.
But I think we should send them, Hartford, a letter in writing, and they have to, you have to get something
Yeah,
in
you gotta
writing.
give something in writing and a quote.
I mean, you do have in
something.
writing no objections, but I
It was
think you
brought
need a
to
letter
the-
from them that says that,
It was brought to the commission's attention that, you know, local ordinances are in effect.
and then they have to reply what they're gonna do,
But.
their
the-
stance or whatever.
But, and I don't disagree with what you're saying, Nancy, but I think Rick made, the first step is this needs to go to our legal counsel, and he needs to tell us where we stand. And then,
Okay.
and then, based on that, then probably the next step is gonna be exactly what you just said. I would
Okay.
think.
Well, the county solicitor did tell us if it meets our ordinance, we have to pass it.
Right, right.
That's
So
what we were told.
I'm questioning, what I'm questioning is what place does a local ordinance have, if it, not a zoning ordinance, I am specifically, it refers to zoning ordinance.
Table it.
You know.
Table it and send it back for them to
Send it to the
clarify their
solicitor.
letter. I mean, we could be approving garbage.
Hmm.
I don't like his phrasing. Because the possibility is Harford Township really meant what they said and what they sent us.
Did they even look at it?
That's true.
Or they decided what it was in the back? I just got to send it
Yeah.
back.
Do they
You
have
have
a
to take
planning
them at their
commission?
word, right?
Does Hartford have a planning commission?
Yeah.
Hmm.
We just need them to clarify.
Yeah, they really need to look at it.
So you made a motion, right, Harry?
Should I read the memo or not?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
And so then we need a second? No?
Well,
Yeah.
let me get this clear. You made a motion to table the plan until we talk to our council.
We're going to send it to our council and get his opinion
And then,
By
and
Hartford
reconsider at that point in time when we have that.
I would second that.
will the final approval for this, if it's later down the road, be open to, we can come and, okay,
Yeah.
good, thank you.
It'll be back on the agenda. It's not, it wasn't conditional. So
tabled.
it was tabled, so it has to come back before the commission again. So the table the plan sent to solicitor for his opinion, okay.
And notify Hartford.
Can you request a full testing of all engines instead of this partial testing that they're doing? So that we don't know exactly what you're dealing
I
with?
don't think we can request any more than what we have in the past. We've accepted their, by accepting the testing they have sent us.
The problem that the county has with having a maintenance ordinance, this, you know, we've been through this before. The subdivision ordinance is not meant to be a maintenance ordinance. A compressor station, noise, sawmill shop could meet the ordinance requirement today, and our county solicitor has stated this. It could meet it today. It could get approval tonight. Tomorrow, they could take all the sound barriers away, and it wouldn't meet the ordinance, but it got approval. We have no recourse to go back and take any approvals away. That's the problem with not having a zoning ordinance, having it in a subdivision ordinance, because it's not a maintenance, it's not a perpetual maintenance type of ordinance.
A snapshot.
Well,
And that's where, that comes from our county solicitor. He would back us up with that. It's not the right place for noise. You need zoning.
well, what about making it conditional? You have a partial testing right now on only 2 engines, and then have a condition
Right,
that
but
after you've started full operation and you have full volume, that you test again and you have to do all the engines, and if you are over the limit, then what does that mean?
Well,
Can
then they have to fix that. But what I'm saying is, even with all of the engines running and they test it and say if they come up with it meets the ordinance, okay? The next day after it gets approval, it could go, it could not meet the ordinance, but it already has approval. Because once you approve it, it's this land development, this ordinance does not meet with what you guys are complaining about. You need zoning to control things like that. This is a planning document, it's not a maintenance document. It's just the way it works.
Right.
And Gibson was, had zoning on the table and they rejected it. Others, choking it, same way, those from choking it.
Did any township approve zoning?
Nope.
Nobody,
No,
right?
no.
Nobody did.
We had, what,
Harry
Bill?
has some.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you
Yeah,
had that, but I mean,
Yeah,
that was,
we've had it since 1988,
yeah.
You've
We
had zoning?
a zoning ordinance.
We had 6 townships, 4 townships, 2 boroughs on the eastern side of the county. We had, what, Bill, 12 or 13 on the northwestern? 12 municipalities. Not one of them passed zoning.
So can we start again zoning? How, we have to do it by a township?
That's up to each municipality.
Each municipality has,
Commission.
Yep.
Yeah.
so if we want to, we could do it individually by the townships, right?
That's the only way it could be done.
There's still an ordinance, right, Bill? You still have
there is.
a physical ordinance sitting there that could be adopted if the townships wanted to.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to table this particular plan. All you in favor say yes or aye.
Aye.
Oppose the same. The plan has been tabled.
Get on my soapbox.